Hello, everyone. So, after what was a weird year for film, we had kind of a weird year at the Oscars. They changed a lot of things from past years, made it a lot smaller uh, due to the COVID restrictions. Uh, and then they also uh, just changed the order of things and made uh, made it so that there was more time to focus on the awards themselves. Uh, this had some good aspects to it and some bad. Uh, they cut out a lot of all the live song performances from it, from during the show, which meant that there was more time to focus on other things, and they allowed the acceptance speeches to go on and finish instead of rushing them off with music, which in some cases was really nice to see and gave us some great moments, but in other moments it just allowed people to list off more names, and that's kind of boring to watch. Uh, some things I liked about it were that it was able to uh, jump through that a lot quicker, through the awards a lot quicker because of that. But then also to make up time at the end, the in memoriam they fast forwarded through a lot of it, which felt kind of disrespectful. Um, and then also they were trying to lead up to a big moment, obviously at the end, and I'll get into that now with going through the winners. Uh, because the first one here is actor in a leading role. They left this one to be at the very end. Normally, they always end with Best Picture being the final award of the night, and they get everyone involved in the film up on stage and they all celebrate at the end. But it seemed like the Academy was banking on Chadwick Boseman to win this and have his widowed wife come up and accept it in his behalf and end with a really sweet moment there. And then the award went to Anthony Hopkins, and he wasn't even there. They didn't allow him to record an acceptance speech ahead of time or to Zoom call in. So they just had a picture of him, and Joaquin Phoenix, who was handing out the award, was just up on stage, kind of awkwardly standing there, and said that the Academy accepted it on his behalf. And then the show just kind of ended like that. It was very anticlimactic. And while I think that Anthony Hopkins is definitely deserving of the award, he gave a tremendous performance in The Father. It is sad to see that Chadwick Boseman will never win an Oscar now. Uh, Actor in a supporting role. This one was pretty obvious from the beginning. Daniel Kaluuya was winning everywhere. Everyone seemed to be on his side for winning it, and he deserved it. Actress in a leading role. This was one of the biggest races of the whole Oscars campaigning. Uh, Frances McDormand ended up winning it. That's her. Well, actually, it's her fourth Oscar in total because she wins as a producer this year as well. But as a leading actress, it's her third time. Uh, the the Academy loves Frances McDormand. I don't blame them. She's very good all the time. Uh, but I had picked Viola Davis as my prediction. I think maybe if she played a bigger role in that film, she might have been able to win it, but she didn't. She was more like a supporting character in that film than the lead, unfortunately. And a lot of other people had Carey Mulligan as winning it, and she was also very good. Yeah, I think I had Frances McDormand as my third option, but it's not wrong to go with her. She was very good. Actress in a supporting role. This is where allowing the acceptance speeches to continue was great because Ye Jung Yoon's acceptance speech was hilarious, and she's got like such great comedic timing and sense of humor. And I think if they had been rushing her off, we wouldn't have gotten that great speech out of her. Um, And again, it's too bad that Glenn Close didn't win again, but I didn't really see her as winning for Hillbilly Elegy, and she'll probably have another chance next year. Animated feature film, everyone kind of knew this was going to be Soul. Wolfwalkers, people liked, and Onward is another Pixar film, but I think everyone kind of knew Soul was getting it. Cinematography was a surprise. Well, not really a surprise, but a surprise to me because I thought for sure they were going to give it to Nomadland. It'd been winning at most of the other ones. Mank had one at one of the other award shows. I don't remember which one it was. And then it ended up winning here, which it's not really a surprise because they do like black and white films. And it is a very well shot black and white film. I just expected it to go to Nomadland. Costume design. This went to Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. And here's one of the cases where what they did I didn't really like with the show was they very rarely were showing clips from the films. And like they showed clips for the Best Picture when they were handing that out, and they showed clips for a couple of other situations. But most of the time it was just the presenters talking about the film and nothing else to go with it. And it would have been nice to see with the costume designs have like at least pictures of the costumes that are being awarded. But in any case, I thought Ma Rainey's Black Bottom had really nice costumes. I watched that film and they definitely stood out as being very colorful and bright, and they put a lot of attention, especially on Chadwick Boseman's character's shoes and just the clothing that each of the characters wear. But if it weren't that, I think Emma has the outfits that would normally be awarded, but it's tough to deny Ma Rainey's Black Bottom's costumes. Directing went to Chloe Zhao, which is great. She's the second female to win Best Director, and this is the first time where I would say it really is as a feminine role, because Catherine Bigelow had won Best Director for The Hurt Locker, but that's a very male-oriented film. It has a male lead, and it's about war. It's very high testosterone type film. Whereas Nomadland has a female lead and directed by Chloe Zhao, so I think it's nice to see her win. David Fincher will have to get another chance somewhere down the line to win his first Oscar. Documentary feature. So this went to My Octopus Teacher, which is what I had predicted. But really, if you look at the other ones, like it doesn't feel like My Octopus Teacher is the type of movie they would award. But I think had it been a normal year, this documentary would be one that would be showing in all the IMAX theaters because there's a lot of underwater shots of the octopus and other sea creatures. So I could see it having a wider appeal. Documentary short ended up going to Colette. I really didn't know very much about any of these, but I think I had it as probably my third choice, maybe even my fourth. So, but again, I don't really know that much about these, so which way they were going to go was completely unknown to me. Film editing went to Sound of Metal, which is what I had predicted. I could have seen it going to Trial of the Chicago 7, or maybe to Nomadland, or maybe even to The Father. But Sound of Metal definitely, I think, deserved it. They edited in like the playing with the drums, and there's a lot of stuff with sound, which sound has its own category as well, but I could see people giving it votes for editing just because of its sound too. International feature film, another round was kind of the favorite to go in, and it ended up winning. It wasn't too big of a surprise. Quo Vadis Aida, I think, was maybe another option and collective as well, but generally everyone figured it was going to another round. I had been hoping to see it before the Oscars, but I didn't get the chance to. Makeup and hairstyling, again, like with the costumes, I wish they had shown pictures for what they're awarding. But it went to Ma Rainey's Black Bottom as well. And again, like, the look of that film was really well done, so it's not too big of a surprise. Music went to Soul. This was what was expected. It was kind of between it and Mank, which they both have Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, so might as well also award Jon Batiste. And I really liked his speech he gave after. He was talking about the 12 notes we have to make the magical music we end up making. All they have is the limited amount of 12 notes, which was nice. It was a good speech. Music original song. I think this was a big surprise for a lot of people. Fight for You ended up winning it, and I think like myself and a lot of other people who were predicting had it down as their third or fourth choice, with Speak Now, Husavik, and this one, Yo-C, Scene. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that, to be honest. Being ahead of it. But I listened to it after. It sounded nice. I'm not too surprised by it. I guess a lot of people like her. I'd never heard of her. But yeah. Best Picture ended up going to Nomadland. This is what I had predicted. A lot of people were predicting it. I thought it was like, it seemed like it was going to sweep everywhere. It was winning at all the other award shows. I do think it was probably close between it and a couple others, but in general, it seemed pretty obvious that Nomadland was going to win it. I would like to watch all of these films, though. I haven't seen that many of them yet. Production design went to Mank, which is what was expected. That's what I predicted. Yeah, I don't think any of the other ones really had too much of a chance. Maybe Ma Rainey's Black Bottom or Tenet, but I think it was pretty obvious it was going to Mank because it was, again, recreating Hollywood, which is what won last year as well. Hollywood in the 40s, whereas last year was in the 60s, but still, they like to see Hollywood in their films, so it's not too surprising. Short film, animated. I just watched this one that won, and it is heartbreaking. I recommend to anyone to watch it. It's on Netflix, and it's only 12 minutes long. It is so sad, and definitely deserved its win. And that's what I had predicted, even before I'd seen it. But it definitely deserves it after watching it. Short film live action. This was another one I don't really know that much about any of them. I had predicted The Letter Room just because it had the biggest name attached to it, but Two Distant Strangers ended up winning, which, sure, I don't really know too much about it, so good for them. Sound was pretty obvious it was going to go to the one with sound in its name, Sound of Metal, and they play with music and with person going deaf, and the way that they represent that in the film is just really well done and makes you feel that, kind of have an idea of what deaf people might hear. So it was really well done with its sound. And had they done it the way they usually do with a split of sound mixing and sound editing, I assume both would have ended up going to Sound of Metal, and then I would have had another prediction right. But there's no way of actually knowing that, so such as it is, I only get the one. Visual effects, I had predicted it to go to Tenet. I thought for a little bit that they might go with The Midnight Sky, but I'm glad they did go with Tenet. So that was another prediction that seemed mostly obvious, but there was a slight chance for The Midnight Sky. Writing adapted screenplay. I had predicted Nomadland, and thinking back to it, it doesn't really make too much sense to have gone with that because there's a lot of improvisation in this film, whereas The Father is uh, was a play, and the playwright actually helped in creating the screenplay for it, and they stayed pretty faithful to it, I guess. So uh, I guess that makes sense that they went with The Father. And then writing original screenplay, I had predicted Promising Young Woman, and it went to Promising Young Woman. When Trial of Chicago 7 didn't win this, it seemed like, okay, yeah, they're not going to be going with Trial of Chicago 7 for a lot of things. Yeah, overall, I did like the Oscars this year. I wish they had done things a little bit differently. Like, they should have stuck with Best Picture being at the end, and they should have been showing clips or pictures at least for some of these. They don't have to show them for each one. Like, I don't think the writing ones need to have clips shown for them or pictures. Visual effects probably could have used clips just to showcase what the actual visual effects were, or like behind the scenes footage would have been good for visual effects to show how they were creating those. Sound, they don't really need much, but they could have shown short clips that showcase how sound was used in it. Short films, I don't think they need to show anything for the short films because they are short, so they don't want to give away too much from them. Production design, that could have had pictures for it to showcase what they were making. Best Picture, they did show clips for each of those. The music, they could have used like a little clip for each of the songs, and I think they did actually do that. So that was one of the few they did show a clip for. Music original score, I don't think they did it for that one though, which they could have done it there. Makeup and hairstyling, again, could have used a picture. International feature film, they did show little clips for each of those, which was nice. Film editing, they maybe could have used clips for that, but it might not have been necessary to do that. Again, with the shorts, they don't need to show too much of that because you don't want to give away too much since they're already short as is. Documentary feature, they did show clips of, I think. Yeah, they did. So that was fine. Directing, they don't really need to show clips for that, I don't think. Costume design, again, could have just been a picture of each of them instead of just showing the audience. Cinematography, that could have been either like pictures or clips from it to just showcase like how the film was shot. Animated feature film, they did show little clips of each of those. And then each of the acting ones probably could have used one clip where it just showcases each of these actors' performances a little bit. But yeah, overall it was an okay Oscars. I got 15 out of 23 of my predictions. It started out looking really good. I think I got the first one right, then the second one wrong, and then I got like 7 or 8 right in a row. And then I started to get a lot wrong after that. But it was fun to watch, despite the problems with it. And I think next year, if they keep some of the structure and ideas they put in place here, but then just fix the little issues, they'll have a much better show from that. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed the Oscars if you watched it, or found some new films to watch now. It wasn't the strongest year, but I do think a lot of the ones that got nominated were very good. And some of them would have done just as well in stronger years. That's all I got for today. Thanks for watching.